So why why you should, right? If you're somebody who is either started to get into anime or you have gone into anime, why you should check out Japanese mangas. No, I'm actually somebody who I never even thought I would ever read mangas or anything like that, right? I grew up like watching some mainstream anime. I wasn't even like a massive anime guy. It was mainly just the standard, Dragon Ball Z, Naruto. That was really what I would watch, right? When I was a kid, growing up, I was just into those two, Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, right? But that was from when I was little, from Cartoon Network days when Naruto would come on and Dragon Ball Z Kai, and then I looked at Dragon Ball Z and I played the games and all that, right? But then when I got older, I started reading like Marvel and old Marvel DC comics, and then eventually I decided to check out some mangas, right? And I kind of like it hits just as good as anime can. I've watched a fair amount of animes, but when you get to sit down, like what I used to do, right, is every time before I go to bed, I read an issue or two of a book, or a comic book, or a manga, right? In the manga, it would be considered volume, but yeah, I would just read out one of the parts of the story of it, right? And it was really nice. And I remember I checked out Berserk. I'm sure some of you guys heard of that Berserk. Um, Definitely, if you're gonna look at any manga, I'd highly suggest you read that one. That one is crazy, right? And there's a reason why you see it's so popular. It's a little hard to read though. So if you have the faint of heart, maybe read another one. But Berserk is one of the probably the best story I ever read in my life. Actually, like the way how the characters are presented, the way how the author makes you uh, feel what the character feel, more so in a physical sense because it's a lot of torture that goes on and stuff like that. It's really good, a really good story. Um, but yeah, like it just I don't know. It's very soothing. Like you get to sit down, take in each page, each picture, each panel, right? You can play out in your head how it sounds. I know it might sound like oh it's kind of childish, but trust me, if you try it out, if you like anime and all that, just try out reading a manga. Right? You can read Berserk, right? Um, there's another one called Claymore. Claymore is a little bit like Berserk, but it's kind of um, that one is like about like this world where there are monsters and they have these girls that were built to destroy these monsters, right? And they're called claymores, right? And there's a lot of like history behind it that you learn about as you read too. But it's really good. Which other one is there? Um, Probably if you're someone who's just getting into anime, if I were to recommend one, it would be 20th Century Boys. That one is really good. That one is good because it's not necessarily like not necessarily like fighting. It's more so like psychological, conspiracy. Um, it's like where these group of friends who grew up and they became separated because they all got into their own lives, their own families and stuff. They got older, but when they were kids, they had a tree hut, right, where they basically would play games and stuff in the hut, but they eventually came up with this idea for trying to take over the world, right? It's just something like when you're a kid and you imagine like, oh, what would it be like? What would you do if we were to like take over a building or take over this place? But they basically drew up all these plans and you know, oh, we're gonna use like a giant toy robot to take over this place of the city and stuff, right? And they just did all these drawings in a book. But one of those kids in that friend group actually has done it right in the story. Like he got older and he executed all the plans that him and the other guys developed. It's a really cool story. And then all the people in that original friend group are trying to stop him, right? That one is really good. Really, really good. I remember I recommended it to one of my friends on Work and Travel, and he read it and he enjoyed it. So I'd definitely say if you're gonna start off with one, read that one. There's other ones too. There's like Gantz. Gantz is like Gantz is like a kind of like a guilty pleasure for me because it's kind of it's one of those like um it has all the tropes that you know in anime where like the characters are kind of perverted and stuff like that, but the way how they do it is really funny to me, right? But then they actually really do a good job of making you like the characters. Basically, these group of people die, and when they die, they get transported to this apartment, and then in this apartment, um, they are given these assignments every there's a certain amount of time where they're called to the room and they have to kill these aliens, and only the aliens can only see them, so all the other people who are alive can't see them, right? So they're basically just assassins to kill these aliens, right? um, and then it evolves into a way bigger story where the aliens come to Earth and try to invade and all sorts of crazy stuff. But they just do a really good job of making you like the characters and stuff. They're kind of goofy, but in a good way, at least to me. And then there's another one. I'm trying to recommend like three mangas to you. Um, I just had it in my head too. Uh, um, uh, Vagabond, right? Which maybe some of you heard that one. That one is pretty popular, right? It was like as popular as like Berserk has been in the past couple of years, but that one is good too. It's just like samurais, like old school Japanese samurais. It's about this main character who's like trying to make a name for himself as a top swordsman, but it's really there's this one fight where he fights against this guy, this Japanese guy who has I think that fight's done yeah, Goku one. Well, he fights against this Japanese kid who looks like Aang from Avatar: The Last Airbender, but when they fight in the forest, and they don't even make a move for like three volumes. They don't make a move because the whole time they're having like a mental battle because there's no powers in this manga, by the way. It's just straight samurais, swords, regular people, right, and skill. But the whole time they do it in such a cool way where I've never seen it before, where they're just waiting for the right moment to make a move, and both of them are are hesitant, sweating, trying to read the opponent, trying to gain a mental um, footing on the other, right? The whole time. And then there's this old Asian guy who is like narrating the whole time, um, all the little details about their mental battle that they're having with each other. And then eventually one of them makes it's really good. It's really good. I never see anything like that before, so that's why I really remember that one. I like that one. And there's other cool characters in that one too. There's this one samurai guy who's actually deaf, right? He can't hear anything, and he becomes a pretty skilled swordsman, and eventually he cross paths with the main character, and the main character does all sorts of crazy feats, defeats samurais, um, defeats like a horde of men. I'm probably spoiling things. I should have said spoilers, but I'm just giving this to you. I'm not trying to be like a critic or anything like that. Like one of those guys who's all specific with his like I guess recommendations. I'm just a normal black guy who has dibbled and dabbled with mangas and stuff. Normal person, just giving it to you straight up how I see it, right? Um, um, which other one is there? Um, there's some weird ones that are still really interesting, but then weird. Um, that I've read. I'm not gonna say those ones. Those ones are weird. Um, there's one called Dearest Malice Self, which if I remember, yeah, in that one, the main character is the son of a dead serial killer, and he actually has like a second personality. He develops a second personality, which that second personality is like the influence of his serial killer father, right? And every other certain amount of time, he just loses consciousness of his regular personality, and then he wakes up in some random place, and the other personality had already taken over and done all sorts of things, killed people, and now he has to, you know, fight against that side. Right, that one is pretty good. There are loads of twists and turns in that one. That one is straight psychological, a little bit of like, you know, horror, a little bit. That one's good too. Like I said, Claymore is pretty good. 20th Century Boys. If you're going to, you know, follow through with what I'm saying in this vid, check out 20th Century Boys. You'll enjoy that one for sure. And then Berserk is like if you're ready for like a really long read. Like you want something to read for like the next week, couple weeks, right? 'Cause Berserk is long, really long, but it's really good and worth it. And harsh. So if you're not, you know, you're not ready for all that, don't read it. But it's good. It's worth the read for sure. Just for the story, it's really good. Lots of tragic things happen, man. Lots of tragic things happen. But yeah, check those out. Check those out.